Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Max from Pop Culture today. Um, we're gonna be have talking about some interesting stuff today, but before we get into that, I want to say who we have here today. Um, and we are unfortunately missing one member. Jake is gone today. He's taking care of some personal things. But aside from that, we have Jalen
What's up, guys? Welcome.
and Miguel.
What's up, guys?
Got the half baked breakfast club here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. How you guys been? How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. How are y'all? How is y'all's quarantine going so far? It's what, week two?
Is it?
I don't know.
I
Dude,
lost track.
dude,
I know
honestly,
I know that
yeah,
tonight we go into a lockdown for our county.
yeah, dude.
Oh,
I was
Mhm.
I was kind of expecting it, especially
Yeah,
after Harris County went into lockdown. I was kind of expecting,
yeah. As soon as Dallas did it, people were saying that a lot of other counties were gonna follow in with it, and I
mm,
guess that proved to be true because it's happening here tonight
hmm
from all the way in Dallas.
it's kind of crazy.
Hmm
Like,
And
you wouldn't think that would be going through this right now.
yeah,
It's
like we can't leave our house. You know, that's what this is meaning right now. Unless you have an essential job and you have a pass for it, you're not allowed to leave your house.
yeah,
some Maze Runner type stuff, bro.
It's crazy, dude.
yeah, man. Definitely scary times for sure. But
Hmm
the way I look at it, as long as we follow, our local and federal government's rules and whatnot,
Yeah.
this should be over in no time, man. We have all these people down in Florida that were partying for spring break, and now majority of them
Mhm.
have coronavirus. Go figure. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we just gotta be smart.
Mm.
That's really what it comes down to. But
Yeah, take caution, wash your hands, take a shower. If you leave your house, take those clothes off when you get home, throw them in the washer. Go take a shower,
one hundred
cleanse.
percent,
It's about taking precautions, staying safe, wipe off your doorknobs. There's no harm that can come to it, only a benefit, you know?
100%, dude. Um, but
I
yeah,
actually don't know how long we're on, lockdown for. You guys know?
until April.
No, I
Just
don't.
overnight.
It's until April 12th.
Oh, wow.
And they said we'll give you news on if you guys are going back to school.
That's about 2 weeks away, around there.
Mm-hmm. So,
Wasn't it like April 12th or 8th or something?
Hmm
yeah, we're supposed to go back in school on the 13th as of right now.
Well, that ain't happening. It's getting worse every single day.
hmm
Um, yeah, it's crazy out there, man. But like I said, just do what you're told. Don't, you know,
Yeah, don't
argue.
don't be stupid,
Yeah,
you know? Don't try and like fight back or anything like that unless
Mm.
it's necessary and there is like an actual abuse of power going on,
exactly,
which there most likely won't be. Stay calm, stay in your house, nothing will happen, everything will be all right.
exactly. Right before we actually get into the topic for tonight, though, and we're doing it a little bit differently. I just want to say real quick, donation link is now working. If you want to donate to the channel, all proceeds will go to something beneficial towards the channel. Um, the link is in the description. And also we set up some other stuff. So if you subscribe, your little notification pops up on the screen, as well as donations that pops up on the screen as well. So we got
Mhm.
all that stuff set up, and that is good and working. But I would like to get into the topics right now. So, this was actually a requested topic from a few weeks back. He actually told me we should talk about this as like an informational episode, and I thought that was a really good idea. Instead of just being like a news rundown for the week, actually have a serious like hour long conversation about a specific topic, and I thought that was a great idea.
Mhm.
So, essentially, what we're going to be talking about is media monopolies and the effect that favoring reboots have on original films as well as consumers. And right before we got the show started, Miguel, you said one name that I think we could really stem a lot off of, and that was Disney.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that?
Well, like lately they haven't really been having, kind of any inspiration on stuff. They
Mm-hmm.
just been rebooting like Lion King, Aladdin. Like you saw that all in that one year. We had a whole bunch of nostalgia flicks. We had, you know, the most awaited for Incredibles 2, which you have mixed things saying about that. You have um wait, yeah, Toy Story 4,
Hmm.
just kind of stuff that we've kind of been waiting for, but it hasn't come out yet until last year. And then you have all the reboots that happen, which some people like them, some people hate them.
I
Of course,
I,
yeah.
I definitely do feel as if the reboots serve a purpose to bring in a younger,
Yeah, to
demographic.
continue
Mm,
to continue the story and that feeling of seeing that story and knowing that story growing up. But I also think that it creates this almost segregated viewpoint on that movie. You know, you have the people who viewed it at this age, and when this one came out, and this one came out, things like that.
mm,
I don't know, man. It's like for me at least, the way I like to look at it. I'm all for creativity. I've preached that in these podcasts ever since the first one. I love creative freedom. I love new things coming to light, and it kind of sucks whenever you have all these people working at Disney, yet the only thing they can pump out is a live action remake of something.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or a sequel.
Hmm.
That's one thing I loved about Onward. Granted, it was a Pixar film, but it was original. It hasn't been done.
Yeah.
Actually saw Onward the other day. I kind of liked it.
I really did think it was a pretty solid movie, and that's
Mm,
like personally that's what I look for whenever I go to the movies. I like creativity and I like things being done differently. I don't I- I'm not a huge fan of the live action remakes simply because I've already seen the movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know, man. I really feel like this isn't the move.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a problem whenever they continue to make sequels with storylines that should have ended at a good point, but instead they want to push out a sequel for all those people who think it might be good and then turns out, being trash, just to get those last couple dimes that they can squeeze out of it.
mm,
I think it exposes another side of those types of companies.
Hmm.
Because no matter what, you have to face the fact that every product, no matter what it is, has a diminishing marginal utility, which means that the more that it is consumed by any consumer, it's going to give them less and less satisfaction from consuming it. Like if you were
yeah.
to have dessert at a restaurant, right?
Hmm.
And they were like, "Hey, if you can finish this one, we'll bring you another free one." And then they bring you another free one after you finish it. And they're like, "If you can finish this one in 20 minutes, we'll bring you another free one." And if
Okay.
they keep doing that, by the end of the night, you're not going to want any more cake, no matter how delicious that cake might be.
Yeah.
That diminishing marginal utility kicks in, and it you don't want anymore. You're
Yeah,
gonna
you're
die of
over it.
cake now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
I got that. I don't know, dude. I can't preach this enough. Like, I love the MCU. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
Um, but I even talked to you about this earlier. I was like, with Phase Three ending, I have experienced everything there is to experience in the MCU for the past 12 years. It started in 2008. I've seen every single movie leading up to Spider-Man: Far From Home. As far as I'm concerned, my story, like everything I wanted to see out of the MCU, is done for me. I'm not over here excited trying to pre-order my ticket for Black Widow because I don't care about that movie anymore. Because, like you said, I am, I'm full. That's the best way to put it. I am full, and
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. And
Exactly.
I, I feel like this is, and it's not even just a Disney thing at all. And I feel like this is an issue
Um,
that Hollywood is, shouldn't be treading. What were you
well,
about to say?
maybe not just Hollywood, but also games as well. Like Call of Duty as well. They push out a
It's
new
a new
game every
game
single
every
year
year.
with the
You
same
also
mechanics, and you're just wasting your money. Like it might have a new story, new feature, like just a small tweak, but that's
Mhm.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with the Samsung and iPhone every
Mm.
year, Galaxy as well. You know,
It
they it's every single year it's a new phone and It's a little bit more expensive than the last, but I promise you'll love this one way more than the one that you got a year ago that still works perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
Because it has a better camera, man.
Yeah, it has a fourth one now.
All
Dude,
we're trying to say is it's something that happens with everything,
yeah,
not just movies, games, iPhone, well, stuff like that.
and the
Happens to everything.
and the thing
Yeah,
is,
of
dude, these
course.
practices are only going to continue. And you even said this, kind of vaguely just now, Max.
Hmm.
People buy into it every single time.
Yeah,
Every single
every
time.
time.
Miguel, you said this about Call of Duty. It comes out every single year.
Hmm.
What's like one of the highest grossing games of the year every single? It's Call of Duty. You know,
Hmm.
if we stop supporting these practices, we won't get trash. I'm not saying everything that comes out is trash because
Yeah.
a lot of the MCU movies are really good. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
However, we could see a lot more creative minds doing creative things if we wouldn't keep supporting the same games or the same movies. That's what I
Yeah.
love about indie films is that 9 times out of 10 they're based off nothing. They're 100% pure and original. And I just love witnessing an original story that I've never seen before instead of a story I've already seen numerous
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. It's the same way, like that's the same reason that I like indie games. Now, granted, you have to sift through a lot of indie games that are more remakes of others and things like that, but every once in a while you find that gem that's a truly new idea and it's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is creativity at its finest.
Hmm. And I also, I'm not a filmmaker or a game designer or anything like that. I haven't created
Hmm.
anything like that. But I 100% believe that, you know, if I was in the situation where I had to make a movie or make a game, and it was like either I'll just stick with the movie. Make a movie that is loosely based off something else, or make a game, or make a movie that you came up with. This is your idea. This is
Hmm.
this is your kid essentially. I think I would have way more happiness, and I will feel way more accomplished if that movie I made was something original.
Hmm.
Yeah, of course. I mean that goes with anything. It's the same way reason why like a home cooked meal tastes better than going out to eat, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's more effort put into it. It's better quality, there's been more time spent on preparing it and creating, something good.
Hmm.
So I guess my next question is, do you guys feel like reboots and sequels and remakes, um, positively or negatively affect
Uh,
consumers?
well, what I think is some of the stuff that comes out, like it's kind of a iffy kind of thing. So some stuff it doesn't need a reboot, but
Mm-hmm.
with other stuff like let's say the original Tron for instance,
Mm-hmm.
um, who really watched that? Like, well, who I
Well,
haven't really seen it, but
me personally, I love it.
you love it. But then we also have Tron Legacy,
Okay.
Hmm.
so it kind of brings a whole new viewpoint to a whole new demographic of people. And for some people that didn't like the original film, then they might like the reboot. They might like the changes that they put into the movie.
Yeah.
So that's what I gotta say. And the same thing kind of goes for games as well. Like, let me see here. Like the Ratchet and Clank series, how they have the first game, they did a movie tie-in, but it was a whole new, viewpoint for the gamers that got into just that version right there. Which, in my opinion, I like it, and I'm pretty sure the original game is pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So it's
I
kind
think
of on each side.
I think what it comes down to when a company is making a sequel of anything, whether it be a game or a movie or a TV show or anything like that, I think what it really comes down to is if that company can nail a sequel or not.
That too.
Because there's a certain way that they have to pull off a sequel and keep those viewers hooked and entertained on what's going on with new information while not overloading them at the same time
I
you
feel
know
I feel like the best way for sequels to work is if it's better than its predecessor, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest issue with the John Wick series. Amazing, amazing films. Don't get me wrong, beautifully crafted movies.
Hmm.
However, I'm one to say that the first one is the strongest and will forever be the best because the last two have felt just like action, just action set pieces, man. The story is a lot weaker, and I wouldn't. John Wick is a prime example of a series that okay, it's awesome. Don't get me wrong, everybody loves John Wick, but it have been better if it was just the first movie? Wouldn't it have been better if it was just that piece of gold and we could look back at it, 20, 30 years from now and be like, dang, man, remember that one movie that came out that blew everyone away and they never made another one to, like, kind of tarnish the franchise, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like my
Which,
mentality, dude.
yeah, I see that. Which also, you could kind of say that with people that want a sequel for Joker as well.
Never,
Yeah.
Like,
ever.
I'm
No.
like, you can't make a sequel for Joker. That
Yeah,
movie was good
that's
alone.
that
I don't
that
know how you'll be
storyline
able to make
has
a sequel.
yeah, that's ended. If you push that
Yeah.
any further, it's gonna ruin the
Mm,
entire concept behind the movie, and it's gonna ruin Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker.
Mhm.
mm,
You know.
My favorite part about that movie is the fact that in the comics there's never been a definitive Joker origin story, and the comics or movies or games or whatever the case may be. There's never been a
mm,
definitive Joker origin, and this whole entire movie was hyping it up like this will be a definitive Joker origin, albeit it may not be tied to anything else, but this would be that origin story that people wanted. And
Mhm.
I love the fact that even then, even watching after watching this movie, it's still not a definitive origin story. There's so many ways you can interpret everything, and
Yeah.
you know, by the end of the movie, we see what happens. You see how it ties into Bruce Wayne and the Batman.
mm.
We don't need anything else in that universe. It's done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know what happens from then on. Bruce becomes Batman and he fights Joker. We don't, as much as I would love to see another movie. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. Joaquin Phoenix, amazing Joker. I would love to see it again. However, I would even like it a lot more if I can look at back at Joker and be like, now this is a great movie that they never made a sequel to.
Yeah.
It's like Scarface or Goodfellas.
Mhm.
How would those movies have been impacted if they would have made more like sequels?
Yeah.
You
Mm,
can't do that.
Exactly.
And I that's one thing I love about Martin Scorsese as a film director. He directed Goodfellas, he directed The Irishman, and a slew of other movies, but not one of his movies have a sequel.
mm.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what makes his movies very powerful and very memorable, is because when you think about these movies, you're not trying to think about, oh, which one was the first one, which one was the second one, which one was the third one. You think about that one movie and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, man.
Mm.
Man, we burned through that
No,
pretty quick.
Nah.
I think we still got a little bit more, man.
Alrighty, what
uh,
what else? What other questions you got for me? Poke my mind.
man, I don't know. I mean, we did kind of burn through that, man. We're only 20 minutes in. I don't know, dude. Like, honestly, though, I just, at the end of the day, I just want more creative stuff, I guess. That's really all I want.
Yeah,
And, like
hard work put into it.
exactly. And that's why I said I love indie films. I love
Hmm.
seeing a new perspective. Some of my favorite films are movies that we're never going to get a sequel from, like Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I posted on my story this morning. Never ever
Yeah.
will we see a sequel for that movie.
Hmm.
And then there's plenty other movies. I don't know if you guys ever seen Mid '90s, but it's Jonah Hill's first movie, and this
Mm.
pure gold, dude. And
Yeah.
I feel like all these big budget like producers, the only thing they see whenever a good movie's made is dollar signs, and then they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, it made money the first time. Let's capitalize on it. Let's make more money."
Hmm.
But that's not always the move, dude.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. No, money grabbing definitely is one of the worst things a company could go
Yeah.
for. It creates distrust and dissatisfaction among its consumer base.
Once they do that, they're just selling out like everyone else that does it. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about as far as like TV shows go? Because we can apply this to TV shows as well.
that's true.
Because
Um,
I'm telling you, dude, I love Stranger Things, but by God, I would have loved it if it was just that first season. But once again, as Netflix, they see everybody loved this first season. Let's capitalize on it.
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, then again, there was also a large consumer demand for a second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that's kind of like a healthy balance between it as well.
Yeah,
Like
because
if
people
no
wanted.
one, yeah, if no one wants it, then don't make a sequel. If people
Yeah.
want it, then go ahead and make a sequel. Just make sure you make it good.
Yeah, of course. You know,
Like
especially if people want it, you want to make sure that it's
yeah,
good because then, like,
you want to
if it's not
satisfy
up to their standards, they're going they're going to be upset and
them.
outraged.
Name something that you're just like, well, why did they make a sequel to that? No one really wanted a sequel.
Uh, man.
You got a lot.
No, I'm actually got to think here because like a lot, the first movie when you said that the first movies that came to my head was movies that don't have sequels yet. So I'm in a sticky situation here. Um, Someone in the chat says season 3 was better than season 2. I think they're talking about Stranger Things. Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
season 2 was atrocious. My
I did not
God,
like that side plot with 11.
I didn't, dude. They need to get away from Will. But to answer your question,
Yeah.
Miguel, to answer your question, this movie that got a sequel that shouldn't have got a sequel.
Or maybe not just a movie, but anything like a game,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
TV series.
Um, Stranger Things really pops up to mind, but I don't want to use that one. Man, John Wick. I already touched on that. My God, dude, this is actually kind of hard. Max, you got any? Cause I need to think here.
I honestly do not because all that's coming to mind is like good sequels of movies that I've seen.
Dang,
You know.
really?
Yeah.
You know what? I gotta say that's the only thing coming to mind for me right now too. Like the Dark Knight trilogy, the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Like, man,
21 Jump Street.
are you talking about the
I
second one?
did not enjoy. I did not enjoy
Oh,
this.
Kick Ass,
Mm.
bro,
Kick-Ass was one of my favorites.
dude. And then the second one came out, bro.
Hmm.
Shouldn't. Yeah, 22 Jump Street was trash.
Hmm.
Kick Ass 2 was not good. But then again, those are movies, man, where I'm like, if they would have just made the first one and just kept it at that, it would have been perfect. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, I feel like also it's kind of like all these studios get like fatigue whenever they see like, you know, big studios like Disney making a whole cinematic shared universe. They feel like they're obligated to do the same thing just to make money.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like how didn't Universal make the Dark Cinematic Universe?
Yeah,
That was supposed to be tied with the Mummy.
they tried twice and failed twice.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same idea with like why a lot of companies are going into to what's it called make their own streaming services.
Dude,
Every company is
rid-
going for that cash cow now, and now nobody
absolutely,
wants to nobody wants to pay for any of that. You
absolutely
know,
ridiculous, man.
people are going to stop paying for it, and pirating is going to become a problem again because if there's a cheaper alternative, the consumer base is going to go for it. You know.
I will say, as far as like what you're saying with the whole streaming services deal, that is one thing that really irks me because we're getting to a point where the
there's
whole
too many.
the whole entire like thing with streaming services was, oh, it's cheaper than cable, so I ought to get
Mhm.
streaming services. Now
Yeah.
we're at a point where you have to
Maybe going back to cable is the better idea.
it might be because you're at a point where you're over here paying for 7, 8, 9 streaming services a month. Your bill is way over $14 or
Yeah.
$400 like a month, and it's like, well, my cable bill was $350.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Like
But when all of them go for that cash cow, like I said, nobody's gonna want to pay for all
Someone
these
said
subscriptions.
13 Reasons Why, which I'm guessing that means they
The
didn't really want
second
to.
season,
Yeah, I didn't
Okay,
watch
yeah,
that.
so the second and third season was horrendous. I will say, just terrible stuff. The first season, I as a series, I do not like 13 Reasons Why. I just don't find the appeal to
I
it.
didn't like this first series.
I will
First
s-
season.
I will say the first season is the strongest.
hmm
It is the best. However, I'm not a huge fan of it. But the last two seasons were terrible, dude.
yeah,
Once again, dude, I'm telling you, if Netflix like just got rid of like half their second seasons,
yeah,
they'd be better off.
yeah, for sure.
Same with Stranger Things, man. But yeah, I I don't know, dude. It's kind of scary that we're going down this route where, it was all about saving money, but we're coming into a future where we're gonna be spending way more than we're saving.
What I
Yeah,
And
think that should be happening, which Disney kind of has the idea, but I think that they should just start merging, like their streaming services together.
aren't
Like with
didn't they do that with
well, yeah,
the
but then we
yeah,
have cable again.
that's true.
you know,
Yeah,
and as
so
far
I
as
don't know.
Disney goes, I mean, they're pretty much a monopoly, dude. So they they got Hulu for the most part. They don't
Yeah,
they don't outright own it, but they have it for the most part. I think it's like 70% they own of it.
hmm
Um, and then they also have Fox,
hmm
and then you have Nickelodeon with a deal on Netflix. So Nickelodeon is coming to Netflix. All
oh
the
yeah,
Nickelodeon shows are going to Netflix.
like the Invader Zim special and stuff.
And then you have Cartoon Network stuff going to HBO Max.
yeah.
And it's kind of
Oh,
crazy to think. Well, we'll get to the chat in a second, but
yeah. Okay.
yeah, and we have 10 viewers. That's insane. But it's
Mhm.
kind of crazy to think that we went from us growing up, we had all those channels back to back on our cable boxes. Now, if we want to watch all those channels, we have to pay for three different streaming services.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Alyssa in chat said, I don't know if people would trade Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube for cable because they make their own originals now and people enjoy watching them. I think it's not a point of like of those companies staying their own because they have originals.
Hmm.
I think it's more of there's going to be so many people that don't want to pay for all these streaming services that they're just going to not pay for all these streaming services, and the companies are going to be forced to make a move after that.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can even look at like Apple TV, and they have originals. Their whole entire platform is built on originals, but for the most part, they all suck. No one's
Mhm.
investing into Apple TV because they're not good. However, when it comes to Netflix, Hulu, and I really don't want to talk about YouTube originals because I those aren't you know all that much either. When it comes to Netflix and Hulu specifically, um, and for the longest time it was just those two streaming services that you had, you know. But now there's
Mm-hmm.
so many more on the market that you have to buy as well, like Disney Plus, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I love Marvel, I love Star Wars, and I love the Disney classic cartoons. I was not gonna pass that up.
Yeah.
Um, but then I think, exactly what she's saying brings up another issue in itself, in the fact that how many times do you guys find yourself on Netflix or on Hulu or whatever the case may be, just scrolling, trying to find something you just can't?
Me yesterday.
Dude,
Yeah.
it really be like that. And that's because everything's oversaturated. I miss when
Mhm.
Netflix was a platform where I could legit watch any movie I want. Now if I go on the app, it's Netflix original, Netflix original, Netflix original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Movie that's not a Netflix original. Netflix original, Netflix original. You know,
Yeah.
I remember when I first got Netflix back in like 2012, dude, and there was probably like one or two Netflix originals on there. That being Orange is the New Black and like House of Cards.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now the whole entire platform is originals, and I feel like that's going to dilute the platform if anything.
Mhm. For sure. Derek said that talking about the sixth season of Lucifer before the fifth season has even come out, which was supposed to be the last season of that show. And I did watch Lucifer up to about season two or three,
Hmm.
and um, I don't know why I stopped watching it, but hearing that, it's like, why? Why are you already planning for something when people were already expecting another thing to be the last, and then release that information so far ahead of time? People aren't going to be excited for it by the time it rolls around. All of the hype is going to be gone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's kind of exactly what happened with me when it comes to Walking Dead, in the sense that I stopped watching Walking Dead after, I don't know, season 3, maybe season 4, and it just kept going and going and going. I was like, my god, dude! Like there was no end in sight for this series,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's another thing that when we're talking about sequels and like continuing on with series, like I like a concise, clean story,
Hmm.
and I guess that's why I tend to lean with movies, because for the most part, you're not going to find any movie series that lasts for more than, I'd say the average is about 3 movies, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you have your outliers like the MCU and the DCU and whatever the case may be in Star Wars, but for the most part, it's about, you normally get trilogies, and I guess that's why I prefer to watch films, especially like I said, indie films, because there's an end in sight. You see where the end goal is. When it comes to these TV shows, you never see the end goal. It's like every single season there's a new problem, and then the next season you're like, okay, what could the problem possibly be? And then something so outrageous, you're like, really? That's where they decided to go with this. And then the series as a whole just kind of shifts, and you're like, I don't know how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I would say that something that does that is the Flash. Like,
Yes.
it does the same thing every single season. Barry loses his powers, big old crisis happens, and then Barry has to get his powers back somehow. Like, it's the same thing, and that's kind of what drove me off of the Flash. I was just like, it's what's different about this new villain? But really, it's the same villain.
Yeah.
So, like, there might be a little bit of slight things that are different from previous seasons, but overall, there's no difference.
Yeah, of course. It's just recycling the same idea over and over again, and just it's like retexturing a game and calling it a new game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All you did was slap some new fresh paint on there and called it brand new. You
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. That's my biggest issue with Hollywood as of right now. Just the whole entire climate of, you know, instead of making new stuff, let's just rehash stuff that's already, stuff that people already like. Which, okay, people liked it for a reason. Let's
Hmm.
not,
Hmm.
let's not get that. Let's not ruin that. And that's why, if we're talking about Star Wars, the original trilogy of Star Wars is iconic. Even if you don't find yourself as like a Star Wars nerd or whatever the case may be, everyone knows about, for the most part, the original trilogy of Star Wars. Darth Vader, Obi-Wan, Luke
Hmm.
Skywalker, Han Solo. Everyone knows about that type of stuff because it was just iconic,
That
and
stuff is pop culture now.
it is. And it's like Lucasfilm saw an opportunity in 1999, and it was like, you know what? This movie, this trilogy at the time, it was just those first 3 movies from the 70s to 80s. This trilogy made a lot of money, and then in 1999, Lucas was like, hey, let's try to make more money. Let's release Phantom Menace, and I feel
Hmm.
like that whole entire idea has really stuck with Hollywood up until this point, and it's dated back far, far,
Hmm.
longer than just 1999. If we want to go back to Terminator, T1 and T2, granted, those are both amazing movies in their own respect.
Hmm.
But, you know, I really don't like this whole sequel business, this whole reboot business, this remake business, especially. Um,
Yeah, of course.
I feel like a sequel is only acceptable if you know what your story is, you
Hmm.
Yeah.
know? And
Like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I find that to be my biggest issue with the new Star Wars movies. They never had an end goal, and that's why Rise of Skywalker failed the way it did, because
Hmm.
there was no end goal in sight. They were just planning on making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Miguel?
I was gonna say, but at the same time, there is a good balance of doing it as well.
There is.
And I think that people just need to figure out that balance. Like, if people want the sequel or if this movie deserves a reboot.
That's
Like,
why. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
there's some like pretty bad. Well, let's see here. I'm trying to think of something that was pretty bad, like to begin with, but they made a reboot and everyone liked it a lot.
Hmm.
Any ideas?
Something was bad, and they made a reboot, and it was better.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
I mean, 21 Jump Street, an example there again. The original 21 Jump Street TV show that had Johnny Depp in it, actually.
Mm.
Uh, Early on in his career when he was doing serious roles, he was in the original 21 Jump Street TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made the reboot, and I would say that the reboot did far better than the original show did.
Mm. Like something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, there 100% is a healthy balance, and that's why I love the Dark Knight trilogy and the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Is because they that's the thing. That's the thing that separates those trilogies from other
Mm.
trilogies. They knew when to stop. Now we look at something like Harry Potter. You know,
Yeah.
say what you want about the first 8 movies. I personally enjoyed the majority of them. There was probably only like one or two I was like, whatever, take them or leave it. But then we
Mm.
have the Fantastic Beasts, spin-off
I honestly
series.
forgot about that.
I
Mhm.
didn't because they're trash. And
I personally enjoyed the Fantastic Beasts. I
I,
mean, from on my end at least, I thought it was a nice view into a different era of the world. You know.
did you feel it was needed though?
No.
No, it wasn't needed, but I would say that it was that it was a good movie according to me.
I got it. Because
Yeah.
I love the world of Harry Potter, and believe it or not, but I actually watched all those movies for the first time last year, and
Mm.
I was down with that. I was like, wow, this is really awesome. And
Yeah.
I got to the
But I was
Fantastic.
also a book nerd for the Harry Potter series, I will say that.
Okay. Um, I got to the Fantastic Beast movies, and I was like, okay, like why? Like this is me, I guess, just coming in late to the party. I was like, why is this still going? That was like my whole mentality watching that, and
Mhm.
as I was saying about like the Dark Knight trilogy and the Planet of the Apes trilogy, what I respect about those the most is that they know when to stop. They knew when to stop.
Yeah.
We didn't get another Christopher Nolan Batman movie.
Yeah.
His story was done in The Dark Knight Rises, and I feel like that was just the perfect ending. Say what you want about The Dark Knight Rises, but I feel like having 3 movies, 3 really solid, grounded movies, is better than having, you know, 6 movies with only 3 of them being good and one of them being really bad and the other 2 being okay.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I've I really feel like there also comes a time. It's not even about like making the sequels. It's just knowing like where you want your story to end. And some, like I said, some of these producers and executives, the only thing they see do is money.
Mhm.
Money makes the world go around, so
Yeah, it does. You're not
Speaking
wrong on that.
speaking of money though, this is the first time since 1994, I believe, that Hollywood hasn't seen a single dime in the box office. That's
Oh wow.
insane. Theater chains are closed. Movies aren't coming out, and
Mhm.
Hollywood has not seen a single dime in the box office.
mm.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And we don't know how long it's gonna be for too. So
The thing is, what's funny about this is there's enough money in Hollywood and just like the movie making industry, if they were to like, you know, they could easily solve world hunger with how much money they have in the industry. That's
Yeah.
like I find that crazy. But do you feel as if Hollywood not making any money for these next few weeks will result in a change of like pace and like a change in like budget when it comes to making movies? And if it does, do you feel like that's gonna change what type of movies are released?
well,
I think it'll increase the amount of money these upcoming movies are actually going to make because
that's
nobody's seen a
true.
movie in so long.
Hmm.
You know, everybody's going to want to go see everything that's coming out, and I think that that is going to cause a bit of an overinflation in the movie department. They're going to have all of this money coming in all at once, you know.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like there might be a little bit of fatigue, honestly. With this whole coronavirus stuff going around, I feel like people are going to be a little iffy to go to the theaters for the first. Maybe I would honestly argue like probably for like the first year. We're probably not going to start
Yeah.
seeing these numbers go back up to what they
Mhm.
used to be for until about
Mhm.
2022. If I had to take a wild guess, um, but it's crazy to think last year Disney made over $1 billion.
With all the
Yeah.
stuff that they're dropping.
They made over $1 billion on like 6 different movies last year, and this year it's going to be rough, man. They're not going to see as much. It's going to be crazy, dude. They're not.
Also, how many Oscar nominees did they have as well during new
Disney.
stuff? Yeah,
I think they only
they
have
had a
one nom.
bunch.
No,
No, I'm saying not nominees, but just stuff that they were like, well, we want to be nominated for this. They nominated themselves for Frozen 2 for like a soundtrack,
I
Avengers, and
y-
then Toy Story for soundtrack as well.
yeah, but out of all the movies Disney, pushed out last year, they only got nominated for three, and I don't even think they won a single nomination.
Yeah,
They might have
like
won Frozen.
I wasn't saying win. No, they didn't win Frozen.
Okay, so yeah, they didn't even win anything, dude.
Yeah.
And I feel like okay, once again, oversaturation. I feel like Endgame was up for VFX, right? And
Yeah.
out of all the movies in that category, 1917 won, which I was really shocked. I thought
That was crazy. I saw 1917. That movie was great
it
with all
was
the
great,
practical effects.
but I was really thinking Irishman would win because of the de aging technology they use.
Mm.
Fact of the matter being, you know, 10 years ago, whenever these MCU movies were coming out, we were astonished by how they looked.
Yeah.
Thor, beautiful movie, very beautiful movie.
Love it or hate it.
Dude, exactly, love it or hate it, that movie's gorgeous. And
Mm.
I think we're at a point where these movies aren't so much eye candy anymore. We just want like cool stories with our heroes on the screen.
Yeah.
um So I feel like whenever the Academy looks at these movies nowadays, it's more or less like, okay, well we've seen this for the last 10 years. Do we really want to
Mm.
give this a nomination, or do we want
That's
to,
true.
give a movie like 1917, the first ever one shot war film, the award?
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, um, once again, this all stems back to oversaturation in the sense that every single year, an MCU movie or a Star Wars movie is up for VFX and sound design and whatever the case may be, but they're not winning anymore. And
Yeah.
even if we're over here talking about this, even if that doesn't prove anything, I think the Academy not giving these movies awards, which Endgame 100% deserved the award. That movie's a crazy looking movie, dude. Whenever they're time traveling in the portal scene, crazy looking movie.
Mm.
100% deserved it. However, the Academy is like, we've already seen this for 10
Yeah.
years. And I feel like that's the attitude with a lot of films nowadays. We've
Yeah.
already seen it.
Which, with everything kind of being, well, all movies not really being released, I think this is kind of good time for us to just get off of that fatigue a little bit.
Hmm.
Just take a break.
I feel like
Yeah.
this is the perfect time. People are at home. I feel like this is the perfect time to rent a movie. If you don't feel comfortable buying, rent a movie that you
Mm.
have, no intention on watching, but
Hmm.
you have the time to watch it now. Like, I wonder how many people in the chat have seen The Shape of Water. Like, I'm really curious, but you probably, what year was that? 2016, 17? But you probably saw Thor Ragnarok, but no one saw The Shape of Water. And so I really believe right now is the perfect time to like broaden, you know, your spectrum here and really look at other movies and realize that Hollywood isn't just these big budget movies, Star Wars and Avengers, and you know, this is the perfect time being at home, being isolated, get your family, watch a movie that you have you know nothing about.
Hmm. Yeah, of course. I would say that's a good thing to apply to everything in your lifestyle. Go try something new,
Yeah,
do something new,
Mm.
yeah, for
something you've never
sure,
done before.
for sure.
If you're going out to like grab snacks, grab a snack you've never had before, but
Just be
looks like
safe
it might
about
be
it.
tasty. Yeah, but be safe about it for sure.
um, yeah, I guess that's one reason why I love, experimenting, because 2017 is when I got really heavy into, like, the awards season, like the Academy Awards and the Razzies and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I really, up until that point, I just watched generic action movies like Fast and Furious and, the MCU and, stuff like that. But then I really started looking at these, like, award nominees. And I was like, dude, these are movies I've never heard of. And these smaller movies, I gotta say, dude, the budget doesn't matter. It's all about the story and how it's portrayed in the acting. These smaller
Mhm.
movies, they're killing it, man. You guys ever seen Logan Lucky?
No.
I have not.
Dude, you guys really, like, I suggest, even in the chat, I really suggest just looking at some Academy Award nominees that you never heard of. Just watch them, even if it's a short film. Just watch it. It's gonna blow your mind. And I really think that if you have, some experience in watching these type of movies, you're going to look at the movies that you go see every single year, and you're gonna be like, wow, like, this really is generic. This really isn't anything special.
What's it called? What was that movie that won? Like, it was one of the foreign films that won.
Parasite,
Yeah, I remember
amazing
some of my,
film.
I remember some of my classmates were watching that in class one day.
Amazing film, dude. Brayson, you love Logan Lucky? Heck yeah, dude. It's an awesome movie. Um, Amazing film. Parasite, it's amazing. The best way I can describe it for anybody interested in watching is actually gonna be on Hulu on April 13th, I believe. It's coming to Hulu pretty soon. But it's like Korean Joker. The all the themes are there. It's is very similar to Joker as far as like themes and ideas go. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I would 100% give it a watch, dude. Even if, obviously you got to read the whole thing, but
Yeah,
Mhm.
that adds to the charm of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
Um, and then, I mean, dude, I can talk to you about a whole bunch of foreign films. Good Night, Mommy, Let the Right One In, Raw. Like, dude, there's a lot of
you know,
movies that aren't getting attention, and it's kind of
one
sad.
movie that I kind of want to check out is Train to Busan.
Amazing movie, dude.
I'm thinking about watching that tonight.
It's awesome.
So yeah,
Have you seen Battle Royale?
heard of it. Like no, I've heard of it. Like
If
for
dude, I'm telling you, if you like Train to Busan, you gotta watch Battle Royale. It's crazy.
mm,
The Raid movies are also really good. There's just a lot of movies out there that don't get a lot of attention because Hollywood is so it's over. Like, all these smaller movies are overshadowed by all these bigger, well-known series and reboots and franchises. You're never
because
going.
Hollywood wants to push those out
Yeah, because they know
more
they're
than
gonna make
anything else.
money. They know
Yeah.
they're gonna make money, and it's really sad, I guess, in a time like this, where I'm at a point where I don't really care about, like I said this earlier in the podcast, I don't really
Mm,
care about the MCU anymore. I'm done. I'm not
same.
I'm not rushing to the theaters to go see Black Widow. you know
Mm,
Yeah.
I've seen all the trailers for that movie, and I have not felt a single drop of excitement like I did back in 2014 when I saw the Captain America Winter Soldier trailer. Like,
Yeah.
that's exactly how I feel.
so yeah, I 100% urge you just to watch a movie that you have never heard of or you had no intention on watching, dude. Because I 100%, I know for a fact, it will really change it.
Mm.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well, is there any comments or questions from the chat, you guys?
yeah.
Y'all got anything you want to say?
Leave your questions right now, guys. We will get to those in a second.
Mhm.
But yeah, dude. I guess to wrap my thing up, I love movies. I'm very passionate about it. That's why Jake and I started this channel, because we are very passionate about movies and video games and just mediums of storytelling. I don't care how a story's portrayed, whether it's in a game or a movie or music. If it's a good story, it's a good story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Regardless.
yeah, and it's, I don't know, dude. It's just that a lot of the stuff that gets attention, I don't want to say it doesn't deserve it, because they are well put together pieces of art, but
Mhm.
Some of them.
yeah, some of them. Um, However, there's a lot of stuff under the hood, dude. and they're never going
course.
to get as much recognition as they deserve.
Yeah.
So yeah, but what are you guys gonna be up to for this next week? What's
Chilling, staying inside.
Yes,
You
Yeah.
sir.
know.
Yeah, martial law. We
Hmm.
have that curfew. What time does it start? 11 o'clock.
12.
12. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, what I'm gonna be doing is I'll probably just be doing the same thing I've been doing this week, which has been, doing homework
Mm-hmm.
and stuff in the morning, and then so I can just get that out the way, and then after that, just have the rest of my day to myself.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Might try to finish this game I've been working on. So
Cool. Cool. The community night bracing will be tomorrow night. We're gonna live stream it, and yeah, it's gonna be Minecraft Bedrock Edition. So you have Minecraft Bedrock Edition. That's crossplay with PS4, Xbox, PC, mobile, Switch, I think. So
Yep.
we're gonna try to get that rolling tomorrow night. We're gonna stream it on this channel. We'll probably start about around 7 o'clock ish, give or take. We'll put out. Be sure to follow us on Discord and Twitter, so you get all of our notifications for whenever we do, send out information.
Make sure you leave a like on the stream as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Everything helps.
Yeah, so you guys are never um, out of date.
Hmm.
Derek are gonna be doing whatever you feel like. They can't control you. Heck yeah, man. Watch some movies, bro. Watch some indie films. Watch something you never heard of before.
Perfect thing to do during this time.
Yeah.
we encourage you to watch the movies. You don't have to do it if you want to, because we
Hmm.
can't control you.
Yeah, even he said that. Um, but yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I really did like the layout of this podcast, how it wasn't like, news space. I kind of like how
Mhm.
we were able to share our thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
I hope the viewers
Well,
liked it too. If you guys like it, let us know so we can kind of keep it like this. And if you do like it and you do want us to talk about, specific topics, shoot us a DM if you have any of us on Snapchat or if you're in the Discord. Let us know. You guys were welcome to everything.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We're pushing an hour here. I think we did a pretty good show. Any last words, guys?
Everybody stay safe during the quarantine. Stay inside. Um, clean yourself.
Don't lick yourself. Just take a bath. No, don't take a shower. Don't send your dirt
shower,
water. Yeah,
Dirty water.
dirty water. That's gross.
contaminated water.
If you sit down in your bathtub, your tub's gonna get corona. You don't want that. Thanks, Brayson. We appreciate you, buddy.
Hey.
But yeah, like we said earlier in the podcast, donation links up. So if you guys ever want to donate, that's good to go. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Peace out.
All right. Stay safe.
Don't get caught by the police.
Hmm.
Have a nice night.
See you guys later.